Hello and welcome to Big Dash Knows. Big Dash knows what? New York Giants football. Let's go. I had to take a little time off. I know, shame on me. Shame on me. Took some days off, family vacation, but guess what? I'm back at it, and it's back to business. Had a little time to unwind, vacation, relaxation, all of the good things, and now we back at it talking New York Giants football, and I'm excited about it. We got Hard Knocks 2 days away from the day I'm recording this, 2 days away, and training camp is right around the corner. Rookies report, I believe it was the 16th, 17th, 16th, something like that. But anyway, it's right around the corner. Giants football right around the corner, so I'm excited about that. But you see the thumbnail. We're going to be talking about the tight end room today. Whether you want to call it a preview, a review, whatever you want to call it, we're going to be talking about the tight ends on the roster for the New York Giants. And first off, let me say this. And everybody's excited about Theo Johnson, understandably so. Potential is through the roof. You can't teach 6'6", 260 pounds and run a 4.5 40. You can't teach that. A lot of people are excited about the new shiny toy. I'm excited, for the new shiny toy, but I will say this. With all this excitement for Theo Johnson, I feel like people are just, throwing Daniel Bellinger to the side. Listen, you guys know me. I'm a big Daniel Bellinger fan. I'm always going to root for Daniel Bellinger, and I'm going to tell you guys right now that, to me, there's no question Daniel Bellinger is tight end number one. He's TE1 in my opinion. I don't think there's anybody on the roster right now that's better than him. You might have some guys like Theo Johnson might end up being better than Daniel Bellinger, but I'm talking about right now today, tight end number one is Daniel Bellinger in my book. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments down below. If you agree, if you don't agree, let me know in the comments down below. But listen, the way we did Daniel Bellinger, when I say we, I'm talking about the Giants, I'm talking about the staff. The strategy, whoever was making the decisions last year. Some of it was out of necessity, but the way that Daniel Bellinger was used last year was a disservice. Now, we already knew that, his targets were going to go down with the addition of Darren Waller, playing time, snaps, all that stuff was most likely going to go down. I thought that, we would see a lot of double tights, but between Darren Waller not getting the targets that he should and not being healthy, Daniel Bellinger having to stay in and chip block and not getting the targets that he deserved either, we had a down years in regards to the tight end room. Now, Darren Waller still put up pretty good numbers for the amount of games that he played and the amount of targets that he had, but he's gone again, and now I'm just talking about the guys that are on the roster. So Daniel Bellinger, and here's the thing. I'm going to throw up the numbers between 2022 and 2023, and you'll see exactly, like the fall off when it came to Daniel Bellinger. But when I say it was a fall off for Daniel Bellinger, it wasn't his fault. In my opinion, it wasn't his fault because, some of these numbers don't lie, but some of these numbers are a little bit hazy, and then you can take a deep dive into it. So in 2023, actually, let me go back. In 2022, Daniel Bellinger had an overall grade of 61. Again, this is a guy that missed a lot of games because of the broken eye socket. Missed a lot of games, but in the games that he played, he had 33 targets, 30 receptions, 269 yards, 2 touchdowns. So he like 33 targets, 30 receptions. That's pretty good. That tells me that his drop rate is not high. He did have one drop, and I believe that was the Minnesota game. I remember I might have been yelling at him when that happened. Oh, actually, that might have been a fumble. But 61, and then his receiving grade was 58.6. So, and this was, again, 2022, broken eye socket, didn't get a lot, missed a lot of games. Giants still getting familiar with him, but he still put up some decent numbers. He averaged 9 yards per catch, and a passer rating, when targeted was 120.8. 120.8 passer rating when targeted. So that's pretty good. That's actually pretty damn good. For a rookie tight end, a guy that was, drafted in the 5th round. So, and then you go and you jump to 2023 and watch how these numbers drop. So his overall grade was 49.1. His receiving grade was 48.7. So overall grade drops, receiving grade drops. Now, when you look at the targets, 28 targets, 25 receptions. So again, 2022, 33 targets, 30 receptions. And in 2023, 28 targets, 25 receptions, 256 yards. So the numbers as far as targets versus receptions are pretty similar. The amount of yards pretty similar. Had no touchdowns in 2023. So for me, these numbers tell me that the more you target Daniel Bellinger, the more productive he's going to be. His passer rating when targeted in 2023 was 104.8. Again, that's down from 120.8 in 2022. And then his average yards per catch were 10 yards, 10 yards per catch. Those are solid numbers when you think about it. Every time this man caught the ball, it was an average of 10 yards. And he averaged about 5 yards after the catch. Listen, the thing is with the tight ends and the New York Giants is these guys just need more targets, more chances, more opportunities to make plays. That's it. The more you get these guys involved, and I'm talking about Daniel Bellinger, the more you get Daniel Bellinger involved, the better it's going to be for the quarterback. He is the security blanket. He is, the safety for the tight end. Safety for the quarterback. He's a safety for Daniel Jones or whoever the quarterback is going to be. Whoever's in there throwing the ball, tight ends are safety blankets for all of these guys. So for me, when it comes down to Daniel Bellinger, hopefully we can get him more targets. We can get him more involved in the receiving game. And I bet if we do that, you'll see those numbers go up, throughout the season. Now, talking about the guy that's going to be tight end too. Now we can start talking about the rookie Theo Johnson. I believe Theo Johnson is tight end number 2. Now, he was getting first team snaps during minicamp, during the OTAs. Fantastic. They kept Bellinger on the side. I guess he was nicked up. That's what Brian Dable said. But Daniel Bellinger did say he was healthy. So they had a little bit of back and not a back and forth between them, but it was a little bit of back and forth on what we were being told. Bellinger says he's healthy. Dable saying, he was a little nicked up or he had a little something going on. But we're on to Theo Johnson now. Theo Johnson is the epitome of what you want a tight end to look like. He's like the size of Gronkowski almost. And he might be fast. Actually, he is faster than Gronkowski. Can he be Gronkowski? That is, who knows? I don't know. You don't know. It's easy to say no, he can't be Gronkowski because Gronkowski was great. But Theo Johnson has everything that you need. All the tools are there. The toolbox is full when it comes to Theo Johnson. Same thing with Daniel Bellinger. It's about how you use the guy, and it's about how many targets can you get. If he's tight end too, really how many targets can he realistically get? Are there going to be certain packages for Theo Johnson? I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll get a little bit more of an idea once training camp rolls around and once preseason starts, because I believe all these guys are going to get a lot of snaps, especially during preseason, especially a guy like Theo Johnson. You're going to want him to get a lot of snaps, and get up to speed, with real football. But for me, I'm very excited about Theo Johnson. Just throwing up some of his stats. So in 2022, his overall grade, and this is according to PFF, was 70.8. He had 24 targets, 20 receptions, 328 yards. He was averaging 16 yards per catch. Now, when you look at it, 24 targets for an entire season, it doesn't seem like a lot of targets, especially when you go to 2023 and it jumps up from 24 targets to 45 targets, 34 receptions, but still 341 yards and then averaging 10 yards per catch. Now, he did have 7 touchdowns, in 2023 for Penn State. And here's the thing, and he could have been used a lot more. One of the knocks on Theo Johnson is people didn't see enough. You had the fantastic combine, you got everybody checking you out. But when they look at the Penn State tape, there were flashes here and there, but nothing was really consistent. And for him to have the kind of numbers that he had in the combine, RAS score, all that stuff like that, you would expect his numbers to be a little bit better. But again, sometimes numbers are deceiving because of usage, strategy, philosophy, however they wanted to play their games or set up their game plans, the Theo Johnson, for some reason, wasn't always a big part or a big focal point of that offense. And again, we're talking about potential and what he could do on the next level. And I'm liking what I'm seeing with these two guys. So when it comes to Daniel Bellinger, when it comes to Theo Johnson, to me, that's tight end 1, that's tight end 2. And then this is when you get into the little murky area of who's going to be the other 2 tight ends on the squad. Now, listen, some people might say we only keep 3 tight ends. We saw what happened last year. There's injuries that happened. There was a point in time where we really didn't have any tight ends on the squad. It was crazy. It was crazy. And even the year before that, we had tight ends going down left and right. So for me, you got to have at least 4 tight ends on this roster on the active 53 when it comes to the season. So now let's talk about these other 3 guys. Now, obviously, I mentioned Lawrence Cager a little bit, and for me, Lawrence Cager was the perfect backup for Darren Waller. Same type of frame, same skill set, more of the receiver type of tight end. Once Darren Waller left, to me, it's like, okay, well, what do you do with Lawrence Cager? Are you going to have certain packages for Lawrence Cager? Because now, when you look at the tight end room, the first 2 tight ends are both traditional tight ends. They can give you, they help you block, and they can help you in the receiving game. Lawrence Cager is not a blocker. He might be willing, but he is not a blocker. I don't think anybody's going to argue that point with anybody here. But Lawrence Cager has shown in the past 2 seasons that there is some usefulness for Lawrence Cager. Like, he can get open. There's certain packages or certain routes that he can run that he becomes a matchup problem for the defense. Now, can he do that at a more consistent basis? He's no Darren Waller. I'm not saying that at all, but he is, from that mold of the receiving tight end. So it's good. It's going to be, I'm leaning towards Lawrence Cager making the squad. It makes sense for him to be the tight end number 3. But when I look at the first 2 guys again, more traditional tight ends. Now, let's talk about some of the guys we picked up on free agency. So we have, Jack Stahl from the Philadelphia Eagles and Chris Manhertz from the Denver Broncos. These guys are 2 traditional tight ends. Chris Manhertz is a veteran, has a lot of snaps, played a lot of ball. Blocking tight end. Between him and Jack Stahl, I don't know what's going on because I haven't heard much of anybody's name when it came to OTAs, when it came to minicamp. I don't know what's going on with Manhertz or Jack Stahl. But one of these guys, in my opinion, they have to make the team. So I'm not going to get into my who makes a 53 point yet, but it's going to be a nice battle because I have 3 guys fighting for that last spot, and that'll take me to the last guy, the last tight end on the roster, and that's Tyree Jackson, another guy that was put in the mold of a receiving tight end. He played quarterback, converted to tight end, but the man hasn't caught a pass in a real football game since 2021. Healthy scratches all 2022, all 2023, healthy scratches. I believe he played for the Eagles as well. But what are we doing here? What are we doing here? You got 3 tight ends that are most likely solidified, and then you got another 3 tight ends that are fighting for 1 spot. And you know what? When it comes to competition, I don't know who's going to be getting a lot of snaps because everybody needs the snaps right now. Because we have Daniel Bellinger, 3rd-year guy. You got Theo Johnson, rookie. You got Lawrence Cager, who's a little bit of a journeyman, but not a lot of experience either. Who's giving up snaps for the last 3 guys, on the roster when it comes to the tight end room? I don't know. And how these guys are going to improve or show themselves or show their worth, within training camp or the preseason. I guess, the end of those quarters, second halves of the preseason games, maybe Chris Manhertz can do something. Maybe they're just going off of, his history and the veteran that he is. But that's going to be a pretty good competition to see. If you're a New York Giants junkie and you're worried about who plays tight end 4, you just like me. I'm curious to see who gets that spot. But ultimately, the first 3 spots, in my opinion, are solidified already with Daniel Bellinger, Theo Johnson, and Lawrence Cager. And again, Theo Johnson and Daniel Bellinger, could be fighting for that tight end 1 spot. But for me, I already said it in the beginning of the video, tight end 1 for me right now is still Daniel Bellinger. We better do right by Daniel Bellinger. So that's going to be my video. Just a review of the tight end room. I'm excited. Can't wait for training camp to begin. Can't wait for Hard Knocks to begin as well. And yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below about the tight end room. Let me know if you got, high hopes for these guys. Let me know if you're a little, on the fence with what we have here. Because again, when you look at these grades, when you look at the PFF grades, it's nothing to smile about. It's nothing to smile about, but again, I think it's all about how these guys are going to be used, and if they're used the correct way, these guys can turn into some players. So that's going to be the video. I want to thank everybody for vibing with me. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And from one Giants fan to another, this is Big Dash Knows, Big Blue Nation. Let's go.